Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. I've been so impressed by the chemistry I've been getting from that first Java Moss bog filter I put together that I thought it was a good idea to test out to see if those kinds of results are repeatable, and while I was at it, to try it on a much larger scale. So this is the 7-foot aquarium, and it's going to be filled with many more guppies than this, and also all the angelfish growouts. So there's going to be an awful lot of chemistry going on in there, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to test that out that way. And also, while I'm at it, I want to test out to see if this style of filtration system has any versatility to it. So if you recognize this here, this is the stand and part of the rainforest build I had put together. Now, the rainforest build was a complete bust. It did not do what I wanted it to do, but that's an awful lot of material there, so I thought at least part of this filter was going to be made up of those two stands and those 4 containers. I'm not sure I'm going to use all 4 containers, but we'll figure that out as we go along. So what I'm going to do here is that the original rainforest build was set up so that it was running at the surface of the water and it was run by a pump. Now this is going to be run by air, so I thought what I'd do is have it a little bit more immersed. So I'm lowering the lengths of these legs here so that it is going to be set up so that those holes you saw in the old rainforest build are going to be even with the water level. So it should have a great flow through it. And like I said, I want to set up at least 2 of those, and they're going to have the caps. Now the caps for most of the high humidity ones I've built so far have not had any holes in them, but these will. So that's going to be another thing to check out to see if I can get enough enough humidity in there as well for like Java Moss and stuff like that. So I made one more tray. That's the one that this is sitting on now. And the reason for that is I want to, like I said, make this as large as possible. So it's going to be over 4 feet in total length. And I think it's going to be quite the interesting build. It's going to give me a lot of space for not just Java Moss, but also other plants and immersed plants. And also what I want to do later on after this has proven itself is I want to be able to pop in potted plants like the ones I'm having in the aquariums. Now, like I said, this was originally an above feed. There's a spray bar on the top of this, and it rained down through the system through all those little holes. So what I'm going to do instead, of course, is I'm going to drill holes in this so I can run this by air. So as I've done many times before, I start off with a 7/8 inch bit, and then I move up to a 1 inch. And then as I was doing this, I changed my mind. I don't really want this to be a friction fit. As I said earlier, I want this to be modular, and I want to test out its versatility. And to be able to do that, I decided to move up to a 1 1/16, which means the airlifts I'm going to be putting into this, I'll be able to pull out and replace and try out different configurations, different hole structures, different flows, different amount of air, all that sort of stuff. And I won't have to take the whole thing apart and pry out the airlift, so it'll be much simpler to get at. So off camera, I moved up to the 1 1/16, and I'm going to do that, of course, for all the rest of the holes as well. Now there is going to be a new part to this, and originally I thought I could make this all one big piece, but again, with the concept of versatility, I thought it would be better to divide that in half to make 2. Because that'll allow me to either, depending on how all this works out, to use those other 2 pieces I had from the rainforest build, or of course just to make another one of these trays. Now this tray is going to be a little bit different than the original ones for the rainforest build. You can see it is a lot taller. So this is going to hold more water. It's going to be, this is 3 inches from top to bottom, and you can see the holes are about a 1/2 inch from the top. So that's going to give me a little bit more depth there, because I want to put some gravel in this as I did with the Java Moss bog filter. And also it will give me, like I said, I don't really want to just use Java Moss. There's going to be other stuff that I'm going to be putting in here. And because of the length and width of this thing, I'm not going to put any baffles in at the moment. I'm just going to leave it one big tray, but I am going to drop in baffles. And the nice thing about this sort of style is I can try different flow patterns for that as well. And as this goes along, I'm going to get lots of input from you guys, and hopefully we'll come up with some very interesting ideas. So this is the bottom plate for that one tray I'm making, and that is half the size of my available space. So as you can see, this is going to be really quite big. And because of its size, I can't template this, so I'm not sure you can see them there, but I scratched out the where the holes are going to be. That little bit of wobble you'll see there is just my mistake. I forgot to clamp down the mill stand as tightly as possible, so there's a bit of wobble there. It didn't affect the hole at all. It was not a big deal, but it's definitely something that I should always keep an eye on, because if I'm machining metal, it does make a big difference. Everything has to be really tight. But for this, it's not. It wasn't a big problem. So there you go. That is, you can tell the difference. So that is my 1 1/16 inch bit, and I don't like it. But unfortunately, buying good quality bits is very expensive. So while I'm doing this glue up here, I want to apologize that this build did not get as far as I wanted to. I want to have this in the aquarium and running, but unfortunately, a few days before this, my dad had a bit of an accident. He had fallen, he couldn't get up. He's okay, so don't worry about that. He's fine now. But he called me and asked me to come over and help him. And silly me, I went over, and I thought that together we could get him up and get him into bed or whatever. My first inclination was to, of course, just call the ambulance and have them deal with it. He weighs more than I do, and as it turned out, partly through the lift there, his legs gave out, and pulling a muscle in my back. It's not bad. It's just right now I'm getting really quite stiff. So if you notice that this glue up is not as my usual level, let's say, that's because, like I said, I'm getting kind of stiff, and I didn't want to push it because everything's getting better now, and I just wanted it to continue getting better. So anyway, my apologies. Like I said, this is not like my usual standard of build, so please forgive me for that. So this is not going to be completely done, but the good thing of that is, as like I said earlier, you guys can leave comments and let me know what you think for different ways of doing baffles in this. You can see there's going to be 2 airlifts, so there's going to be 2 stacks going up here. I am going to get this up and running and having water flow through it with air before I put anything in it. So you guys are going to have a good chance to look at this, see the 2 that I've cleaned out for the old rainforest build, this tray. I'm going to put them in place and have them running, and you guys can leave hints or suggestions as to what you want to have it look like. So we'll call that the silver lining of all this. And for part 2, I will do up some airlifts for this and get it all running. And then hopefully from comments that I get from you guys on this one, we'll also try some other stuff. So we'll see how this all evolves and comes together. So there won't be an update for this on Sunday, but there will be an update for the Java Moss bog filter, because I have now put in the pearlweed and it's doing really quite nicely. And also, as I said before, I am going to do another chemistry test on that for ammonia and nitrate and nitrite, but there's hasn't ever been any nitrite readable, so there's really no point in continuing that. But I will do another test just to show you that it's there. So this is it all together, and it is over 4 feet long, so it's going to be quite the feature in that tank, and hopefully it will, like I said, do as well as the other one did. So it's going to be interesting, and I hope these 2 here, it doesn't have to be in this configuration, of course. I was going to move them all around and everything, but I said my back was getting a little stiff, so I just set it up like this, and we'll do more of this and more movement of this later on. So thank you very much for watching. Leave lots of comments. Let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.